Spires of Magic, Rise of Spider-Man. Chapter 22, Pink and Purple. Pierre's mind came to a halt, slurring as it struggled to come back with terms of reality after what felt like an endless, reoccurring nightmare. Initially, he was about to panic due to the fact that his costume and mask were removed. But after learning Canterlot was his current locale, Pierre managed to remain calm by clinging to a tiny thread of hope. Had either Celestia or Luna's influence been a factor during the aftermath of the accident, then there was a chance Spider-Man's secret identity had not been revealed to the world. It was faint, but he needed something to grasp to keep from falling into deep-rooted panic. Peter sighed inwardly. Pinkie Pie's overly positive outlook on life was rubbing off on him, which brought the current situation back to mind. While Peter was grateful for our guest, who must have been greeted by any of his closest friends, namely the ones that knew of his tie-in with Spider-Man. They could probably inform him of what had transpired since he lost his consciousness, whether or not the pyrotechnics backfired was truly an accident, how Pinkie actually got Tracy into a cheerleader's outfit, and why Twilight's sister-in-law, of all ponies, was present. He stared, or rather squinted, at the mare for several moments, and after an embarrassing amount of time, Peter managed to spot a pair of wings on her sides. The stallion's brow furrowed, slowing his befuddlement. The mare was not a unicorn as he originally thought, but an alicorn like Celestia or Luna. She was tall in stature, perhaps not quite the height of either cruel ruler of Equestria, but certainly when compared to Peter. Is there a third goddess I didn't know about? If so, Twilight certainly crowds herself with celebrities. However, realizing he was staring, finally, Peter shook his head and scratched the side of his jaw. Real smooth, Parker. This conversation's off to a great start. The last thing Peter wanted was to leave a bad impression on a stranger, let alone a close relative of the girl he really liked. Nervous laughter escaped from the stallion. Sorry, I blacked out for a moment there. You said your name was Cadence, right? His laughter grew inadvertently. Stop laughing, moron! Hearing his mind screams, Peter placed a hoof over his mouth and cleared his throat forcefully. Not to sound rude, but what are you doing here, visiting me? We never even met. Smiling, the alicorn nodded. I understand where you're coming from, and it's only fair I explain myself. A bright violet gaze sifted to the open window before falling back to the bedridden stallion. It's been a week since your accident. So I stayed here and waited for you to wake up for the entire time. Cadence shook her head, the smile on her face remaining warm. Poor thing. She hasn't slept for days. I practically had to beg her to go home and get some rest yesterday. The only way she agreed to it was if I promised to stay here in a place for the night. I've been out for a week? Peter blurted out, sending a jolt through his broken limb. As he clutched at his leg, murmuring several expletives under his breath. Standing his eyes widening at his late realization before suffering with remorse. Twilight's been with me the entire time? A sad smile formed on his features. That dork. I didn't mean to make her worry. Is he okay? Cadence raised her brow questionably. Unbelievable. You just wakened from a week-long coma, and you're worried about somebody else? Peter's ears perked as his face flushed with embarrassment. Yet the alicorn giggled innocently. Twilight was right. You're very caring. The temperature in Peter's face elevated, evident by the shade of crimson and rose on his cheeks. She actually said that? Twilight gives me way too much credit. If anybody's caring, it's her. You're modest too, just like Twilight said. Kate said, winking. Shaking his head, Pierre rose offensively. Pierre felt his presence melting to a frazzled goo. What? No, I'm not! She's also right about having trouble accepting compliments. The man now silently stated, grinning upon earning a defeated groan for the stallion. He gets flustered so easily, Hermione nodded, giggling, just like her. Cadence paused, her expression suddenly matching that of a serious tone. There's something else I agree with my sister about. Huh? What's that? Pierre asked dumbly, unable to remove the goofy smile that etched itself onto his face. Parker, focus! Stop smiling like a doof! You can't earn cool points like this. Biting down his lips, Pierre managed to hold eye contact with the alicorn. But his nerves slipped, allowing his smile to resurface. His mind moaned. Who am I kidding? I never played the cool card! What may have seemed like a crushing defeat turned into a baffling turnabout. Cadence's demeanor lifted, leaving a firm tone for a light-hearted smile. Pierre's hazel irises widened, I'm sure what would make the situation. His confusion only grew into mere giggle instantly. I'm not exaggerating. You're very handsome when you smile. In the span of a second, Peter felt everything grow fuzzy. His mind raced while his heart sped, threatening to break its own limit. To make matters worse, he began to laugh uncontrollably, as if his mind had finally gone over the proverbial edge. Twilight actually thought positively of him. But as if that weren't enough, she thought he was handsome. Peter's mind huffed, demanding the starstruck stallion that Twilight would not have kissed him if she didn't find him somewhat attractive. However, the fact that she told some pony spoke volumes to Peter meant there was a chance Twilight wasn't ashamed of what she felt. Her feelings were mutual of his. Rolling his eyes, Peter's smile lost its merit, morphing to a bittersweet grin. He was getting ahead of himself again thanks to Pinky's influence. It was just a series of compliments. Every pony does that for one another. Twilight was an innocent girl, and her words were probably just a reflection of that. Struggling inwardly, Peter accepted that possibility, although a large part of him begged to be proven wrong. Peter, there's something I would like you to know. Cadence gently called out, freeing the stallion from a self-induced trance. Her demeanor stiffened once more. There was no sense of falsehood in her voice to be found whatsoever. Peter acknowledged this, placing his host by his side while maintaining his silence. Cadence smiled inwardly, appreciating the stallion's ability to take situations seriously when the time was needed. Twilight has told me so much about you, so I would like to know how you feel about her, and I want the truth. The truth? You honestly want to know how I feel about Twilight? His gaze fell to the ground, but it could not mask his blush underneath. I mean, it's embarrassing coming from a nerd like me, so the truth is going to sound cheesy. Inhaling deeply, Peter mustered every fiber of his will together before turning back to the alicorn, with a stern glare in his eye. However, the smile he bore was pitiful, full of plea. You promise not to laugh? Kane simply nodded. Of course. Well, it's easy to say how much I like Twilight as a friend. She's smart, supportive, understanding. I mean, how can you not find her appealing on that alone? Twilight's image filled his mind, causing Peter's face to burn. I may be a nerd, but Twilight's a total bookworm to the point where it's silly. She's so awkward at times. You seen how clumsy she is at times? Seriously, I think she's the only pony whose dance moves make mine look like a professional. She freaks out too easily, though. Just last week, that girl thought I lost my backpack and tripped over her hose trying to get it from me. His smile grew on with. Honestly, she's too clumsy. But it makes me want to be there for her even more. I wouldn't change her for anything. Even though I wish you'd let me sleep in once in a while. I only deal with that because I see that cute smile of hers every morning. I can see that with a straight face, that Twilight is the most beautiful girl I've ever met. Peter's mind groaned, finding his outpouring of emotion sickening. But it sighed distantly, knowing that there was more to confess. Only the truth escaped his mouth. He had hoped Cadence would believe it all. Back at home, I was a wallflower. No point really noticed me, but they sure paid attention whenever I made a mistake. Guess that's why I was the local screw-up. Peter shook his head, recalling the events over the past couple of months. Despite the numerous negatives that plagued his road, there was one constant positive that cleared his path. None of that ever bothered Twilight. She accepts me for who I am. That means so much. I can't describe how special that girl is, or how much I look. As I was instinct, Peter's hoof fell over his mouth. But it was too late, for his emotions were not very clear to himself and Cadence. His mind went out a flurry of tirade, chastising Peter for saying too much. It's no wonder why none of the women on Earth, with the exception of Gwen and Emma, bothered to give him a passing glance. Betty Brant, hello? Felicia? But with the confession he just gave, Peter was finally able to understand the depths of his feelings for Twilight. She had become more than the friend who took a stranger in, the girl who constantly bugged him to wake up at dawn. Twilight was the best friend Peter ever had, and the second girl he grew to love. I love her. He firmly stated against his mind's will. Peter felt confident his chances to be with Twilight withered away, like a snowflake's life on a sunny day. However, he closed his eyes and smiled wildly. If the truth was going to be heard, he had to make Cadence believe him. I love that bookworm, and I wouldn't change that for anything. Cadence stood silently with her mouth agape, but she closed it quickly, allowing her lips to curl into her smile. You truly do love her. He brought his foot over bandaged over his forehead, rubbing it slightly. Trust me, I want to tell Twilight how I feel, but I don't know if she's ready. Before my accident, she told me she needed time to figure things out. It'd be wrong if I forced it on her right now. Yagor closed their eyes and nodded, all the while maintaining a smile. You could share it, but I wouldn't worry. Twilight's more than ready to take that next step. Really? What makes you so sure? Let's just say it's a special talent I have. But you do not get to be the goddess of love. The sense what you and Twilight hold for each other is special. So you're okay with this? I mean, she's Celestia's apprentice, and now I find the goddess of love as her sister-in-law. Peter said somewhat sarcastically. His dealings with gods in the past, leaving little room for surprises. Twilight's obviously meant to do great things, and is an average pony like me even worth her time? She sir seems to believe you're worth her time, so why should I judge that? Cadance politely stated, taking a step forward to the stallion, until her shadow engulfed his entire figure. Shaking her head, the mare sighed inwardly. You're as dense as she is. Can't you tell Twilight loves you too? Well, considering how I've been writing lately, yes! Pierre, unable to think of a response, said silently, taking in the Alcorn's words. He ought to believe there was a chance Twilight felt something for him, but a cynical side prevented him from believing in that possibility. Not because he wished it wouldn't happen, but to keep his hopes from getting too high to a crash. Pierre shook his head. No. There was something else leading him away from the truth. He knew exactly what it was. An image of Gwen suddenly flashed through his mind, like the darkness engulfs a girl, causing Peter to slam his eyes shut, throw his hoof over his face. The source had warped his vision. Spider-Man appeared to take center stage, holding Gwen's lifeless body in his arms. However, something was amiss. The girl's blonde hair suddenly grew in width, falling to her lower back. Its color matched the violet tone. Spider-Man's hand pressing a pink strand behind her cold ear, shifting his black lenses to face Peter. Are you going to die? Let her die too? His ears strained at the moment, but Peter felt everything slip once he saw who the girl in Spider-Man's arms was. It was Twilight. He failed to save her life too. Peter's eyes shot open, shifting to find his surroundings had returned to normal. The answer was there. Madam's words finally made sense for the first time in his life. The true reason behind his powers was not because he lacked a cutie mark. That was apparent to Peter at the moment Celestia and Twilight explained what exactly that mark was meant to be. You must accept who you are. Being Spider-Man was not his natural talent. It came from a miracle of science, or rather an accident. He only became Spider-Man through a series of life-altering circumstances. No, being Spider-Man was a choice. Peter realized he no longer wished to be a part of it. From his final days on Earth to his present time in Equestria, Peter's alter ego had done nothing but cause problems. Captain Stacy, Gwen, and Ponyville paid the price for Spider-Man and Spider-Man's blunders. Peter, Ponyville gets attacked by monsters semi-regularly. It's not your fault, and Discord would have sent the dragon anyway, and that's still a stupid plot point. And the blimp thing was an accident. That's not your fault, you freaking moron. I mean, maybe somebody had died, but right now, a lot of people held out too. The biggest injury so far has been you. Nobody's died yet. And everybody else has been safe. I don't think you have any reason to do this time. Now, maybe there was a bigger death toll, sure, but there hasn't been. So would you kindly quit it with this emo stuff? You're gone from being reasonable here to we're going to flanderize you at one side of your personality. Eventually, Twilight would fall into that category. Peter would never forgive himself. For her sake as well. If he could be with Twilight without putting her in danger, life would be perfect. Sure, he would no longer have his abilities, but things would be safer. Equestria was relatively harmless, and if even something were to occur, Twilight and her friends could handle it. If not, Princess Celestia and Luna could take care of these. Pierre nodded. The loss of his powers were not a curse. He'd finally be a normal equestrian and find the closure he needed. Twilight would not die because of him. He would be there for her, not as Spider-Man, but Peter Pony Parker. Twilight sacrificed enough for her sake. It was high time we repaid the favor. Facing Cadence, Pierre smiled. Of course I do, and I'd give anything for her. Then I have no right to object. Unrequited love could be found in many shapes and forms. Your feelings are sincere, so I know you'll treat my sister well. Her hood fell over his shoulder, but King still glanced out the corner of his eye, smirking at the realization. I think it's time Twilight told you how she feels herself. King stepped away from the bed and turned her attention to the door on the other side of the room. Using her magic, the Alcorn pulled the door open. But Peter's mouth fell agape at the sight, curled on the floor outside. Though her back were turned, facing the ponies inside the room, it was easy to see Parker recognized the dark violet mane and tail of the purple-coated mare. Thanks to the lone pink strand in the middle of each. With flying purple fire on the ground, Twilight sat with her gaze fixed on the ground, seeming oblivious to the stares of her sister and roommate. Peter turned to Cadence flushed. I thought you said Twilight left! I'm sure you realize that Twilight is rather stubborn and worrisome. I told her to go home, but she obviously didn't listen. I heard her outside the door a few minutes ago before you woke up. Sully has never been her strong suit. The Alcorn replied, smiling as she shifted her attention back to Peter. Before he could reply, his ears perked at a familiar sound, prompting Peter to face the doorway. A series of sniffles escaped the unicorn, each louder than the last. Twilight used her hoof to wipe away her face clean as she slowly turned to face every pony. But she could do nothing to hide the tears that strained her cheeks. However, Peter's eyes softened slightly at the sight of a tiny smile the librarian managed to hold. Even now, he was amazed at her beauty. Twilight, did you hear was all he managed before a pair of hooves fell around his neck. Peter sighed, feeling Twilight's soaked face sink into his collarbone. Yet he managed to smile, wrapping his limbs around the mare's body. Suddenly, Twilight trembled as her grip on the stallion tightened. Thanks to stars, I thought I lost you. I would have been a little more careful if I known you worried this much about me. Peter grinned, causing Twilight to attempt a glare, but her resolve quickly dissipated. Leaving the mare to lower her face back into its spot to his friend's chest. Seeing his head, Peter ran his hoof through Twilight's mane, before planting a gentle kiss on top of her crown. You are such a dork. Nodding, Kane smiled. Since you're here, Twilight, I'll go let Auntie Celestia know the good news. She'll be thrilled to see Peter's finally awake. She made her way out of the room, pausing to give both ponies a friendly wink. Before cutting around the corner, I'll be back in a few minutes. The pair sat silently, waiting until he felt certain Cadence was out of hearing range. Twilight reluctantly broke away from the embrace, but maintained a sitting position on the bed. She avoided his gaze, looking at the open window, and the sun hanging high overhead. Warm, dissenting sensation was not going away, nor feel like it planned any time soon. Peter's words played through her mind relentlessly. He admitted his feelings, and despite the trouble she caused him, Peter still loved her. Her whole face seemed to be burning now. Blushing, she tore her ways from the sun, and shifted her entire focus on Peter. Everything you said. I know you meant it all, but there's something I had to say. She shook her head. I wish I told you this sooner, but I know I said I had to figure things out, but... Peter nodded, a serious expression failing to mask what appeared to be a blush. Twilight. He started to say something else, but was lost in an array of hastily prepared words the mare released. I always knew how I felt about you. I just had a hard time accepting it. She merely placed her hoof over his, patting it gently to show she meant no form of offense. You're the only pony that's made me feel this way. I've read several books trying to figure out how I should go about confronting my emotions. Twilight murmured, sighing, but nothing was able to help me. I thought there was an exact way I had to go about doing it. Everything I read had various ways of expressing intimate emotions. Twilight bit her lip, causing uncomfortable situations she was unfamiliar with. I even went to my sister-in-law Cadence for help. I figured if written documents couldn't help, surely the goddess of love could provide me with the answers. The entire conversation played through her mind, but it faded the conflict of rising emotions within her being. She simply told me that love can't be described through definitions or text. It's something every pony experiences in their own way. Once it takes hold, we want to cherish and embrace it with only one pony. Her tears slowly returned, forcing the mare to side with her eyes shut. I didn't know what she meant at first, but I finally started to understand when I thought about the times you and I shared together. cheeks began to feel wet again. Voice lost its firmness, coming out choked sobs. Despite the fact that we've gone through the low times recently, you always brought a smile to my face with your honesty, kindness, and stupid jokes. Twilight turned her face away, wiping her sore eye. Her smile remained intact. Your stupid jokes. Her voice had taken cue from the passionate words floating around inside her head. Unrestrained sobs echoing across the room. When I realized there was a chance I could experience these feelings again, it all made sense. You're the one that makes me special. I almost missed the chance to tell you how much that means to me. Twilight's head fell in a slump. Her tears proceeded to fall, dripping onto the sheets of Pierre's bed. I'm sorry, Pierre. I should have told you this sooner. Taking a breath, Twilight made certain her eyes came into direct contact with Pierre's. Their faces only inches apart. I'm in love with you. Keynes was certainly right. Some simple words were astoundingly difficult to say. I know it's selfish, but after everything you've been through, I want to fill the void in your life and help you start over. Twilight told herself to shut up, but the absence of her voice created a stillness she immediately felt ashamed of. Twilight. Pierre's voice seemed to hang in silence for ages. He reached up, placing his hands over her mare's. In that one moment, she yearned to hear his next words, despite knowing they could possibly break her heart. However, her nerves loosened once the stallion laughed to hide his blatant nervousness. I'd love to start over, as long as you're the one there with me. It was unusual. After days of struggling to grasp her feelings, Twilight found the simplest of words held the deepest of meaning. Wave emotions had washed over the mare. She found herself unable to speak, yet evident by the smile on her face, she was fine with the circumstance. Nothing else had to be said. Both ponies had confessed their feelings for each other. Despite the adventurous road they traveled, their hearts were attuned. Pierre didn't hate her. He loved her. Twilight leaned forward, sobbing to Pierre's embrace until she broke away, pressing her lips against his. She drank him in. Her fears disappeared, replaced by a nervous yet blissful passion. Pierre's hose wrapped around the mare's body, matched only by the embrace his lips shared with hers. Twilight's face was strained from tears still, even though her heart was felt as light as the clouds patterned across the sky. She could not stop herself from crying. Loosening out of their hold, Pierre brushed her hoof across her face and sighed. These emotions were going to take some time to get used to. Pierre, perhaps sensing her thoughts, wrapped his limbs around her neck and placed his chin on top of her head. The physical contact filled Twilight with warmth, but above all else, a strong sense of safety. As if nothing could bring her any harm. Her smile grew to as wide as the horizon. Suddenly, she couldn't hold him tight enough, and never wanted this feeling to end. Pierre glanced off to the side, a thought pulling back on his mind. He held Twilight firmly and closed his eyes before deepening the embrace. The inside of his chest tightened, clinging to whatever happiness he could. Yet there was a pull, a lingering doubt that refused to yield to his heart's desires. Part of him begged to ignore the feeling, and follow his original plan to leave his life as a superhero behind. However, he opened his eyes, finding his surroundings had changed once more. However, Pierre was not lost in an abyss of darkness, nor a realm of endless light. Something warm fell over Pierre's shoulder, breaking his gaze to find an older man standing next to him. Warren smiled at his features. Pierre almost couldn't bring himself to meet the man's gaze. As tears filled his own eyes, but he managed, smiling sadly at the sight of Uncle Ben. "You've got a lot on your mind, son," he said gently, coincidentally Pierre's shoulder reassuringly. "Talk to me." Pierre sighed, despising his conscience for doing this to him. "I wanted to give up, Uncle Ben." Ben removed his hand from Pierre's shoulder, and stood his gaze to the ground, prompting his nephew to follow his line of sight until he spotted something particular. Its crimson design was easily recognizable, but that unwavering blank, white stare in the lenses sent a wave of uncertainty through the younger man. Ben knelt down, as if sensing his nephew's doubt. He tried to ask, however, he was not quick to surrender the attire, instead choosing to give Pierre a stern glare. "You mean this? What's that?" Ben asked softly, despite the firm gaze he bore. "Because for a moment I thought if Spider-Man never existed, things would be better off. My friends would be safe, and I wouldn't get them involved with trouble like Captain Stacy and Gwen." Peter shook his head, let out a harsh scoff. Then I realized if I just gave up, there'd be no way I could protect my new friends. Even better than everything Dave handled instead. Grating to see Peter clenched his fist, resisting the urge to punch himself to the greatest ability. They can't fight hydras or dragons. I got so wrapped up in my guilt that I nearly made a selfish mistake. It'd be no different from the time I let you die, Uncle Ben. All because didn't want to use the power I had. Because I didn't want that responsibility. But they can fight hydras and dragons! God! I hate it when they do this. I seriously hate it when bad fanfic writers tend to do this. Tend to limit the girl's abilities. If you want to limit the girl's abilities so much, make them weaker, make them seem more infantile, make them sound like they can't defend themselves, so I gotta have a big, strong man to step in, then do yourself a favor and don't write a pony fic. Because I swear, when I encounter this type of stupidity, I will kill this story. Oh yes, I will rip it to shreds. I will destroy it. No, they don't need a big, strong human to step in and make everything alright. Do you guys just not watch the show when you write this? Do you guys just not watch the series that you claim to love so much? Or when you do you just see the girls and go, well, they believe in friendship, and that inherently makes them weak, insufferable. Plus, they are girls. Which means, since they are girls, they must be a timmering little waves who need protection. Fuck you and your sexist ideas if that's what you're thinking of. My God, do you guys watch stuff like Sailor Moon or Star and see that these girls have their own beliefs and kindness and friendship and think that, oh, they are women and they believe in love and friendship and compassion? I'm a man, so I must protect them and use my big, strong muscles and my freaking dick to go in and protect and save their lives. Oh, wait, what am I talking about? You do! I've read enough Sailor Moon fanfics to know that some of you people do think about that. All you do is think that they need all that little protection and help. Well, fuck you hard. Why did you even write this story if you suddenly wanted Spider-Man to say BS like that? And if the words are, I wanted Twilight and Spider-Man to fall in love with each other, then congratulations, you wrote the story for the wrong reasons. No, they didn't need that. And Spear didn't need to say that. Congratulations, you just made the entire crossover pointless. Why? Because you just basically said that the girls can't mess up with Spider-Man. And since the girls can't mess up with Spider-Man, they need big, strong, and I have a dick, Parker to help them. Well, guess what? Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm insane. But I always thought that when you wrote a good crossover, you need to make sure that your characters are equal footing. So that way, the viewers at home can have an equal representation of them, so they can understand their characters, so that way the characters don't end up overshadowing one another. But silly me, I thought wrong. I believed wrong that they are supposed to be equal. I've been writing crossovers wrong all this time. No. Apparently, I should every time write a crossover with the ponies, have the ponies do this. Oh, save me, you big, strong man. I need help. Oh, can I give you a blowjob? Seriously? Why? Just why? If you are going to insult the girls with a line like that, then why? Why did you even write this if you didn't just want to spend the next 22 chapters insulting them and basically wasting my time? I didn't come here to see you freaking tell me how awesome Spider-Man is, or how much better he is than the ponies. I came here to watch Spider-Man team up with the ponies and have adventures. I didn't come here to see you write your stupid little manifesto. Yeah, I'm pissed. Yeah, that line ticked me off. You better believe it. It's like that Wonder Woman crossover all over again. You remember, where Diana basically stole the whole entire show from Sunset Shimmer and the other girls, and basically the author was saying, Well, the girls are very, very weak, and I need Wonder Woman to step in, because the girls are worthless. I'm only doing this just to show off how awesome Wonder Woman is, and not give the girls a chance to show off how cool they can be. So I'm just going to forget about all their accomplishments, and I'm just going to make sure that they don't get to show off what they can do. Because for some odd reason, whenever we people write crossovers like this, we gotta diminish the girls, because we want to make sure that our own heroes seem stronger and better by comparison. Don't ask us why we're writing a pony fig then. Oh, and by the way, the girls are weaker because the show doesn't let them be awesome. So inherently, we gotta say that this instantly makes them very weak, very weak. You know, they're inhuman, so can't let them be stronger. Can't let them be awesome. Fuck you, thick. Fuck you, hard. Do you know what you have to do, right? Ben reached down and grasped Peter's hand, leaving the mask for his rightful owner. Before the younger man could respond, his uncle pulled him to embrace. Don't think for a moment I'm not proud of you. Stop trying to run when you have a reason to. He stepped away, causing his surroundings to be in a bright flash of light. Now go do what you do best, and be the hero that those girls need. I was enjoying this fic in spite of the Twilight ship until I got to this part. And now I'm a little pissed. The next few chapters better be awesome to alleviate the anger I feel right now. You know what I would have done to get Pierre his powers back? Make him see a real emergency. Have him encounter a situation where the other main six can't intervene. They can't do something. And have him jump in. Do something that shows them being equal terms. But no, with those lines, you just basically said that the girls are weak little waifs who need help. Fuck you. Peter's eyes shot open, but he quickly softened, finding he was still locked in Twilight's loving embrace. Ever since Gwen was killed, Peter deeply hated the life he led, begging to find a way to free himself from his grasp. Now it seemed like a victory was within his reach finally, evaded by his powerless state. However, it was nothing more than a hollow victory. Should the stallion lose his powers now, the happiness he fought so hard would seem to be washed away in one foul swoop. The friends that trusted him, the public that adored him, the girl who mended his broken heart would all be lost. Peter shook his head defiantly. He would never let that happen. Steel Glove was worth fighting for. If being Spider-Man would ensure the safety of his best friends and a newly appointed mayor friend, Peter would happily take up the mantle. After all, there was a bad guy coming in a few weeks. At some point he had to be ready to kick his butt. And Spider-Man was just the one to help do it. Twilight? Peter said, closing his eyes. Mary's eyes perked at the sound of her name. Slowly reopening his irises, the Italian found his sight improved slightly, mildly, evident by the clear him as his mayor friend that sat only inches away from the background behind her. I may be without my powers right now, but I swear I'll get them back, so I can protect you with everything I got. Excuse me, son? What was that? Twilight Sparkle don't need protection from nobody. I am sorry. I don't need some help from a superhero. I got my own skill and my own responsibilities. So there. If we're going to have a relationship, you better learn to respect my needs. So there. Before she could respond, Pierre's lips met with Twilight's once more. This time, an astounding amount of passion. They remained in that state for minutes, although some would argue it had been hours. Standing outside the door with a victorious smile, Cadance nodded before turning to Princess Celestia, who only giggled in response. Remember, Cadance, don't tell Shiny yet.